49ers are in last place in the NFC West, 2-2. And the bad news for the 49ers is that the NFC West is as good as we said it was going to be. Every team in their division now has done a thing more impressive than anything they've done. We're glad you're watching this video. Give it a like and subscribe to our channel.
Yep. Also, check out the podcast below in the description.
We're sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka.
It happens to be the #1 vodka in America.
The way the Seahawks played against them, you could say, for the Seahawks. The way the Rams played last week against Tampa. The way the Cardinals played this week against the Rams. Like each one of those teams, not only are they higher in the standings, but each one of them has shown to have a higher ceiling at some point or another than the 49ers have shown this year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're clearly the worst team in the division. Eye test, watch all 4 of them. It's not even close. Arizona, to do what they did today is you got to give them a hat tip. I talk a lot of shit about Cliff. I don't think he's ever won a meaningful game before today. I mean, maybe like Texas Tech, Oklahoma State or something, but for the most part, no one ever cared. and when he had to win his biggest games in the NFL last year, he lost, right? And that was the reason he missed the playoffs. Today was big on the road, and I didn't watch any of it, but every time I checked the score, he was kicking their ass. So they are clearly, and that's who the Niners got to play. And like you said, the Rams and Seattle just beat them. And Seattle, like, they're 2-2, but their 2 losses, they had commanding lead against Tennessee. Like, I mean, they were up 31 to.
Who lost to the Jets today?
True, but they were missing A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Like, they had, if you go 4-14 or whatever, 4-13, you're going to win a game every month, right? The Jets might win. If they win 4 games, they're going to win. They're going to beat some random teams. Like, you lose to a bad team, right? A good team does. Tampa,
I'm not blaming them I'm not blaming the Seahawks for the Titans losing to the Jets.
But Seattle's the third. It's clearly, to me, the third best team of the group.
I agree.
Right? They are pretty flawed. Like, the Niners aren't even in the same stratosphere as those other 2 teams right now. And to me, the only hope you have this Sunday is they overlook you.
Yeah, they're 4-0. They're feeling themselves.
And that's a reflection of you. Like,
but can you score? Because they score. Like, they scored 38 against it. They also played Tennessee, just like Seattle did. And they kicked their ass on the road. Then they played Minnesota, who beat Seattle. And they beat them. I got lucky, but they beat them. Then they played Jacksonville, beat them. They played the Rams, blew them out. Like, they've got 3, I don't know if you'd call them blowout wins, but runaway wins of their 4 wins. Arizona.
Yeah.
And the other one that was 34-33. Are the Niners going to score 33?
No.
Are they going to hold them to 22? Are they going to hold them to 28? Are they going to hold them under 30? Because if they do, it's the best defensive effort against the Cardinals this year.
Well, here's the problem, guy, is that they can't defend the pass. And right now the Cardinals passing game, like, A.J. Green's good. I thought he was going to be terrible. He's good. Hopkins we know is good. Christian Kirk. Right today, when you really DK Metcalf was kicking their ass. Lockett got the 1 PI, but it was DK Metcalf. It wasn't like the 2-headed monster. I would guess if you asked Tyler Lockett today after the game, players don't admit this to the media, but if you 70%, no means those 2 guys came in, and let's say DK's 90. It's not like you got them both at 98. That would have been terrifying. And that's why I think they were a little thrown off early, because they wanted to maybe avoid having those guys carry them and hand the ball off. And then it didn't really work, and then they couldn't get a rhythm. But, as the game went on, what did they realize? Why don't we just throw go routes? That's what I do. You see what Rodgers was doing? That's the problem. You were in a division that they will throw go routes, all these teams, nonstop, and that is your weakness. Think about that. Your number one weakness is kind of what all these teams have no problem doing. Rodgers, at the end of that game, was just every play was just a straight route. I mean, he's just lobbing it up.
I also worry from the Niners standpoint that their defense is going to be in these positions where so much is on them. And they're playing these teams like Kyler, like Russell today, who can make these back-breaking plays. And that's just a lot of stress to sustain over 4 quarters, right? It's one thing if you know your team doesn't score, but you're playing these other teams that aren't really dynamic. And so you can kind of, even if you miss on a play, even if you let the quarterback slip through your fingers, he's not going to turn that play into a 30-yard run or a touchdown throw. But with the Seahawks and with the Cardinals specifically, it's very stressful because you can be good on 38 of 40 plays, and those other 2 plays can be touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they hit DK and Mosley catches up and knocks the ball away. Well, great, but they're going to take another shot, and then they're going to take another shot, and then Russ is going to break out of a sack and throw a touchdown pass. And there's no like we've got them in a bottle today. There's no you got Arizona held to 10 points at halftime. It doesn't mean Arizona's not going to score 34 that day, right? And just explode in the second half. And that's a lot of stress, I think, for a defense. If they don't think they're off, if they feel like if we get behind, our offense cannot catch us back up.
This is where it gets weird, bro. This happened to my guy Nagy over the last, even before this year. When your head coach is an offensive, and Kyle is much highly thought of even over the last couple years than Matt Nagy, that your head coach can figure it out and you're just watching the offense. You're like, what is going on here? And your defense eventually goes, well, what else can we do? Because you go, well, you guys gave up 28 points. Well, did we? Because one of them happened when Cannon muffed and then fumbled. That ain't on us. So that's just 21. And then the first half, we were getting you off the field and you didn't put up any points. So you start getting this internal, like in basketball, your offense is your defense and your defense is your offense. It's all the same players. But in football, it's weird, right? Because it's the same
team. And we forced a punt after you threw the pick in our own territory.
It's the same team, but if like at the end of the day, when Kyle gets the team and he goes, guys, this is not going to be good enough to beat. We got 5 more games in this division. We got to step it up. And Fred Warner has got to be thinking like, well, fuck, I was making every other tackle. Not my fault. And that's not the way to be as a team guy. And I'm not saying he even thinks like that, but it goes, I can't do anymore. Like I'm doing everything. I'm working my ass off. I'm getting here early. I'm leaving late Monday through Saturday. I'm laying it all out on the field. Kittle's like, I can't feel my knee or my calf right now, coach. I was blocking and catching balls. Like, well, what more can we do?
And we'll see what happens with Trent Williams.
This gets to the thing of when your best player, it's one thing when your best player's like, just kind of half-assing or whatever. That is not the problem right now for the Niners. Like, it feels like their best players are laying it all out there on the line.
We'll have picks coming up this week, and we'll make them at mybookie.ag. Promo code HAM and the number 1.
Also, check out these great slippers. Overland.com/ham for free shipping. Debo's like, I'm getting killed on every other throw over the middle. What are we doing here, coach? That's what I can just see it getting weird in the future here if when the offense doesn't score. Because you go, well, coach, it's your deal here.
Yeah.
And now because you start getting to these games, it's like it's Kyle versus McVay. It's Kyle versus Cliff. That is kind of the way it's set up.
Yeah, but it doesn't who's a better football coach, Urban Meyer or Cliff Kingsbury?
If I had to have a guy coach my NFL team, I'd rather have Cliff Kingsbury.
Just who's a better? I mean, it didn't matter. Like Cliff's team is better. Urban would have beat Cliff with Cliff's team.
I don't know if he's quite made for the pros.
He might not be, but I think he would have beat him with his team. I think his team is, the Jags or the Cardinals roster, like the quarterbacks, like one day Trevor Lawrence, but right now today, my point is just like your quarterbacks, even if one team's coach is a little better, if the other guy's got the better quarterback, he might beat him.
Yeah.
It's Kyler's been giving people headaches since the moment he stepped on the field.
Well, that game's a good example. Are we sure that the Rams have the better quarterback in that matchup?
No.
Yeah. We're not.
But they got a better quarterback than the Niners. It's
by a mile.
This isn't like a menage a trois game. You don't get to tag in and then play them. Like they play them and you play them. Yeah. And what they did against them only matters if you beat them.
You know that Seattle, LA is the Thursday night game?
I think you said that on the last pod. So
in Seattle.
So LA's kind of got.
And Seattle's got to be feeling a little better. Get a home game now. You win that. You're like, okay, we're alive again.
Christian on YouTube says, no Trent Williams against Chandler Jones is far from ideal. Did somebody catch on the broadcast? Because Trent Williams got carted off the field, right?
I think his body went into full cramp and he couldn't walk.
But I thought that Shannon Spake, when she did her halftime update, coming out of the locker room, said that Trent got carted onto the field for the second half. I could be wrong about that, but I thought she said he got carted on.
Wouldn't shock me. Card him back.
Just less,
I don't think it's that crazy, I guess is my point, if you just want to let the IVs, all the fluids.
Yeah, just big man. We don't want him walking. We're going to save every ounce of his energy. But I don't know. I not having him against the Arizona Cardinals, against anybody, would be a major
According to
problem.
Kyle Shanahan, Trent Williams' shoulder is concerning. So I think it's a shoulder injury. That'd be a problem.
It is a problem.
Yeah.
Period. It's a problem. Whether he's clear to play or not, it's a problem.
I mean, if it's a serious injury, it's a devastating blow.
Yeah, I'm saying it's devastating even if he can play. He's clearly not 100% or close to it.
You thought he got hurt a little before he even came
Well,
out.
there were like 2 plays before he came out of the game. You could tell something was off. Trey ended up rolling out right. They never showed the replay. They went straight to like a Fox promo. So I'd have to go back and watch it. But something happened.
Someone tweeted at me, like, Middlecoff, probably a Red fan, do you think the @NFL will show Trent getting thrown to the ground on the last play instead of all of his pancakes? And I wonder if his shoulder was all fucked up and he got taken out, like someone ran him over because he had no power in that thing. And that's why, when he walked off holding that left arm, I went, I've been watching football long enough to know that is not a good sign. Right?
If it's not a quick pop in, pop, and he comes back in, then it's a problem, right?
Yeah. Because if you have, I have a little brother who's got a labrum tear.
Yeah.
And he's a golf addict, so he didn't want to get surgery because it'll take 3 or 4 months.
He's in season, yeah.
Yeah, so he's just got to time it right in like November. He come back in like March.
Right.
There's a lot of pain. I think you need the power. And his came from just trying to lose weight doing push-ups in some workout classes.
Ooh. Yeah, that's why you get down to the knees. Don't be a hero.
Yeah.
Even push-ups on your knees, Jeff, or push-ups. They're better than the push-ups you don't do. I'll put it that way.